Commiserate about the state of the Jets. And, Joe, before we start going in every direction, I'm sure, did you have an issue with Joe Flacco's son wearing a Dolphins jersey before the game?
We were just talking about this with Dove. Not particularly. I mean, here's how I look at it, okay? Joe Flacco's not a Jet anyway. Okay, he's a Raven. That's number one.
That's my stance.
If Robert Saleh's son walked out there with a Tyreek Hill jersey on, I'd have a major issue with that.
Joe, I'm surprised at you, Joe. I'm very surprised at you.
You know what? Though?
Surprised.
But you know what?
A little disappointed, actually, Joe.
Why? What do I care? I don't care about Joe Flacco. You know what I care about? I care about the fact that my team's. I care about the fact my team hasn't been in a Super Bowl for 54 years. I care about the fact that the last 12 years they haven't made the playoffs. Yeah. I care that they got the worst record in football since 2016. This is what I care. I care that I don't have a quarterback. I don't know if I have a coach. It doesn't look like I have one of those. This is what the fact that Joe Flacco's kid loves Tyreek Hill means nothing to me.
Listen, and if it was a different play, if it was Quinnen Williams' kid,
well, that's a different story.
Or
like I said, if it was Robert Saleh, if it was Robert Saleh's kid, I'd be delirious.
That would never happen. But
I'm saying, I would be delirious.
You don't necessarily care about Joe Flacco as a Jet fan.
Right, I don't.
I'm trying to think of another free agent that came in.
It doesn't matter if it's Kellen Clemens or Brooks Bollinger. It's just a bad look. But I'm not going to belabor it. I'm not going to belabor it.
It's probably not a great look, but it's just I don't care.
Joe, by the way, Joe, it's small potatoes on the list of what's wrong with the team. I just want to get your quick thought. All right, so
go ahead.
On that. So I'm going to run down, obviously, the most important positions of any franchise. Give me a yes or no, and then we elaborate after we hit this. GM, do the Jets have the right GM, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Head coach, do they have the right head coach?
I'm leaning towards no.
Okay. Do they have the right OC, yes or no?
No.
Do they have the right quarterback, yes or no?
Oh, definitely not.
Okay. So with more no's than yeses, where do we go from here, Joe? What's the plan?
Well, I think unless you're going to tell me that you can get – look, Sean Payton, I think, is already talking to the Broncos or that was going to talk to the Broncos, whatever. Unless you tell me that I'm getting a real big – like if Sean McVay left the Rams and said, which he's talking about, and it was and said, I want to coach another team tomorrow, I'd be screaming at Woody Johnson, go get me Sean McVay. But if I don't have a real alternative, you're telling me I'm going to bring in the next hot coordinator, then I'm saying let's go with these guys one more year. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, and I think the challenge with McVay, just from context standpoint, is that they have mortgaged their future to win championships for so many years that they have no flexibility. They don't have any draft picks and they have nowhere they can go. So they're stuck basically with the exact same team, and it's not going to be any good, which is exactly what happened with Sean Payton in New Orleans. They mortgaged their future trying to win that second championship for Drew Brees. It never happened, and they just had no flexibility. So you got to run out a bad team.
The Rams did win that one, though. They did win last year.
Look, you give the Rams credit for doing what they had to do it too, by the way. I mean, they're in LA, brand new market. There's complete apathy for football in Los Angeles. If you don't put a winner on the field, then nobody's ever going to come. So I give them credit, but Sean McVay knows that their team might be bad for the next 3 or 4 years. That's why he's talking about walking away. So if that happens, then great. But the challenge is who are you getting instead of Robert Saleh?
Well, that's the point. That's exactly my point, and that's why I say, I leave him for another year. Look, he's talked all along, B, about the 49er model, okay? And he always talks about that. With Shanahan, the second year, I think they went 4-12. They went to the Super Bowl in year 3. He's been preaching year 3, year 3, year 3. Okay, well, now you're going to get year 3. You better get me to the playoffs, otherwise there's not going to be a year 4. That's my feeling on Saleh right now.
Yep. And by the way, that's Joe Benigno with us here on The Fan. Joe, here's a situation that worries me. I threw this at Tiki really at the top of the show. All right, so let's say, and I think we all think this is going to happen, Jets make a serious run at Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's not free until March 15th, okay?
Okay.
So, and by the way, the way you answer those 4 questions, I do think that Joe Douglas is solid.
Yes.
Very worried about Saleh. OC's got to go. Zach is a mess. All right, so we're pretty much in alignment there.
Right.
But if the Jets decide to keep LaFleur and their main target this offseason is Garoppolo, and Garoppolo goes somewhere else, you can't go somewhere else until March 15th. And at that point, all the good veteran OCs are gone. That's a logistical problem.
Yeah. I you know what? As much as I don't like LaFleur, I'd almost say give him another year with a real quarterback. And you know what? Bring them all back. I really feel this way, B. Bring them all back and give them this last shot. Otherwise, they're all gone.
I got you. But what's the quarterback depth chart? Because that's an important part
Here's
of the
guy I want. I don't love Lamar Jackson. He's 2 years in a row now that he got hurt. I think he's extremely overrated. He's a runner. He's never beaten you in the pocket. He's won one playoff game.
Okay.
All right, and he's going to cost you your firstborn. Okay,
Yep.
Okay,
I understand that.
All right,
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers is never. I don't think he's ever coming to the Jets. The problem with Aaron Rodgers, again, he would cost you the sun, the moon, and the stars, and you got to win with him. If you don't win, like now with him, like going to the AFC Championship game is not enough with Aaron Rodgers. Okay. I like Garoppolo a lot. I like him a lot, but he gets hurt a lot. He's a winner. He gets hurt a lot. Here's the guy I think they should go after. I think this guy's got a very good upside. I think if you get him out of where he is now, and he's gone from there, and that's Derek Carr. I would take a shot with Derek Carr. He's only 32 years old. He had almost an MVP season a few years ago. He did take them to the playoffs last year. They lost a tough game in the playoffs to the Bengals last year in the first round. I'd take a shot at him. And I think there's an upside. You get him out of the Raiders, and I think you might have something with this guy. And I think he's a guy you can get pretty soon. I don't think you're going to wait till March 15th to get Derek Carr.
I'm okay with that. Now, if it's Derek Carr,
right?
Do you think it's doable? Because I'm not fully throwing Zach in the trash yet. Can you bring in Derek Carr and have Zach as the clear backup?
I don't think so.
No, I think. Well, let me ask you a question. Derek Carr is going to cut him, right? So you wouldn't have to give up anything to get him. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. To me, Mike White's got to be signed and be the backup. That's me.
Yeah, I think if you sign Derek Carr, who's young enough, 32, to have
He's your quarterback.
5 or 6 years under his in tenure, you're done with Zach.
Yes.
If you sign Derek Carr,
Yes.
you're saying
Would that apply to Jimmy G as well?
I don't think so, because Jimmy has so much of a
Injury history.
All right, you can sell me on
it's
that.
It's almost like yeah, Jimmy's our guy, but we better be preparing Zach to take over whenever Jimmy is unavailable.
Okay.
Right. So you're not signing Jimmy G to a long-term contract. By the way, you don't need to, because he already signed a $100 and something million contract 2 or 3 years ago. Jimmy's the perfect guy. I think Derek Carr is the guy if you're trying to replace Zach Wilson. Anyone else? I mean, I don't think there's a ton of other guys out there. I mean, Geno Smith will be available, but he's going to stay with Seattle. Baker is available, but I don't love that option. Daniel Jones.
He threw a terrible pick, by the way. I don't know if you saw the end of the Seattle game, but they had a chance to win it. And I was rooting for Seattle to lose because I wanted to see the Lions make the playoffs.
Me too.
And I'm so happy they beat the Packers. Oh my God! Thank you, Detroit.
That was a good one. And Lion fans have it as bad as we do.
They do.
That may be worse, Joe. They haven't won a playoff game since '91.
Well, they have never been to a Super Bowl, and the last time they won an NFL title, Bobby Lane was the quarterback.
57 or
57.
50? Yeah, 57.
No, you know why it's not. You know why they're not worse? Because they have a coach who everybody believes in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they got a coach.
Stadium. They got a lot better. Than,
they got a lot of things better than
we
the Jets.
do, actually.
Right.
Crazy as it
They're
sounds.
also in an easier division to win. Let's be honest about it.
Joe, do you think who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl?
Right now, my Super Bowl prediction is the Niners and Buffalo.
With Brock Purdy.
Yes, because they're so loaded. I mean, who's got more than they got? They got a great defense that actually, may I add, takes the ball away.
Yeah.
By the way, 2 takeaways in 8 games.
Yeah.
Did they emphasize this with the Jets?
Well, that's part of the reason why I'm not sure about Saleh.
Well,
that's why I keep
of course.
bringing it up.
I'm with you on that, but like I said, you got to give me a better alternative than that.
I'll tell you this.
By the way, I think the Patriots had like 7 defensive touchdowns this year. I'm just pointing that out. I just want to say that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. By the way, Joe, I think Cincy could beat the Bills. I do.
Maybe.
I do.
I think the Bills, I think the Mar Hamlin thing is a big deal for them. I think that's going to motivate them even more here. And by the way, let me say this too. If they wind up playing the Chiefs in a championship game, okay, which I think it's ridiculous that you're playing it on a neutral field.
Yeah.
If you do, don't be playing it in no dome. That game's got to be outside. You got 2 cold weather teams, Buffalo and Kansas City. Play the game in Pittsburgh, play the game in Cleveland, play the game in Green Bay. Don't play the game in a dome.
Joe, I think they always go to Detroit whenever there's some sort of snow emergency. And they're probably going inside, Joe.
Play to MetLife.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You can't play that game.
Bring it here.
Inside.
Bring it to MetLife.
Okay, that's even here. They could do that. But to me, play the game outside. Give me a break.
Joe, how much of a chance you give the Giants here, Joe?
You know what I'm worried about with the Giants? Because everybody for weeks has said, the Giants play Minnesota, they could beat them. The Giants play Minnesota, they could beat them. Okay? That's all I've heard. And I've been on the Giants all year. I've been winning with the Giants all year. My picks, I'm 7-1 with the Giants. I won with them again yesterday.
Yeah.
Getting to 14. But that, and I didn't see the spread yet. I don't know what's the number on
3
that game.
points, Joe. 3.
3? That's it?
Yeah.
I like Minnesota. I think Minnesota is a team that's got because it is. I'm just telling you, everybody loves the Giants. Oh, the Giants! They should have beat them the first time. Minnesota's 13-4. They're overrated. They gave up more points than they've scored, and they're going to be playing that game with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, but I think they played every week with a chip on their shoulder. They're just not that good.
I understand that.
They got an explosive offense.
I've been on the Giants all year, but I'm telling you, when I see stuff like that, I get very, very concerned. Mm-hmm. When everybody's on that one team like they are, the Giants are beating the Vikings, of course. That scares the hell out of me.
I got something for you about this. Just broke real quick. So Cliff Kingsbury fired by the Cardinals. No surprise.
He stinks.
Yeah, no surprise. No surprise at all.
Right. And Lovie Smith's gone, right?
Yeah, he's gone as well. I don't know that he'd
come. Four openings, by the way. Indy, which were on interim. Carolina, they were on interim. Denver, they were on interim. Houston fired Lovie Smith, and now Arizona has fired Cliff Kingsbury.
I don't know that he'd come, but if you move on from LaFleur, Kingsbury is the OC?
That's not terrible.
It's not?
That's not terrible. He's a terrible head coach. But as far as the OC, I
think he goes back to college, to be honest with you.
Probably right. Probably right. Joe, would you take? Well, I think I know
the
the answer.
TCU tonight, by the way, with the points.
Okay,
what is it?
Joe?
What's
feeling himself with the spreads
I love the Horned Frogs tonight.
Nice, Joe.
Yes.
Now, you actually bet, or is that just you throwing out some useless predictions
you know what? I
would
have bet the money line on this game, but the money line's not great. I think it's only plus 340. I got to have more than that.
That's pretty. Plus 340 is good.
For a 13-point underdog?
Yeah. You're not going to get a lot higher than plus 340, Joe.
They're not 7-point underdogs. They're 13.
I understand what they are. Right. Joe, if I said now,
they're definitely covering.
I
agree with that. Definitely
you like the cover, Teak?
No question. No
Teak,
question.
You like the cover?
I love the cover. Yeah.
Joe, if I said to you, all right, Joe, we're going to give the Jets the Super Bowl next year. All right? Mm-hmm. But they will not win another game the rest of your life. That means you sit there and Lord willing, it's 30 more years, Joe.
I signed for it.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I think you would. I believe.
No, I'm signing for it, Teak. Teak, I'm going to be 70 years old. I got to see this one more time.
Stop being selfish, Joe.
Think about the kids. Selfish.
Think about the kids, man.
You know what?
The kids that are coming after you.
That's true. My kid. He barely remember it. He'll never see him win a game the rest of his life.
I got to Teak, come on. You serious?
No, I'm joking with you.
I knew he'd say that.
I'm joking.
I get it. You know what? It's okay to be selfish when you've been through the hell. Yes. And he's been on the hell 20-something years more than me.
Freaking years without a Super Bowl. I mean, it's a joke. I always tell everybody, I was 15 when they won it. Okay, I was 15 when they won it. I'm gonna be 70, and they haven't even been there, Tiki.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I mean, when I say it like that, that really puts it into perspective.
You know what? You're right, Joe. Because when I think about you at 15, I'm like, dude, that's impressionable. He was perfect age to watch a Super Bowl as a Jet fan, and now you're almost 70, and you still haven't gotten there again.
Still haven't gotten there. By the way, could you imagine how many yards and touchdowns Garrett Wilson would have had this year if he actually had a quarterback?
Yeah, he is awesome. He is a great player.
I got the jersey. I got Garrett.
Oh, nice. Good. That's a good one.
I had to get Garrett. I will. Sauce will be next year. But right now, I got Garrett this year.
You picked the right Wilson.
Well, I mean, is there any? He picked the right Wilson.
And Joe, real fast, did you see?
Some people bought Zach Wilson jerseys. I mean,
no.
We have one.
You can't buy You can't get quarterbacks until they do something for you.
You can't get a quarterback jersey until they sign their second contract.
Right, at least.
That's fact.
Right,
it's like you had a Darnold one. We have
No.
Well, we do.
The last quarterback jersey I have is Pennington, so go ahead.
That long?
Yeah.
All right, Joe, real fast. Did you see that the Jets hiked up the season ticket price? In some spots up to 30% for next year?
How could they do that?
I don't know.
How do you, I mean, you've given us nothing forever. You got 12 years forget even the 54, 12 without a playoff. It's not even close. I don't even know who's got the next longest streak. I think the Jaguars did. That's gone. I don't know who the team was after that. Whatever. I mean, and how do they have the you-know-whats to jack the prices up?
Did not read the room. That's
you
unfair.
got to be kidding me.
I hear you.
Oh, my God.
All right, Joe. Another happy recap,
And by the way,
buddy.
the first-round pick has got to be an offensive lineman. And I don't care if it's a center, a guard, a tackle. I don't care. The number one draft, they picked 13th, I think.
Yes.
Has to be an offensive lineman.
I don't think you're wrong. If there's some great linebacker I'm missing, maybe.
Yeah.
But this is our fate. Here it is, the day after the season ends, we're talking draft. Just pathetic.
By the way, that was a terrible call on Quincy Williams on a horse collar yesterday. Come on.
I agree with that.
That
but
was
I don't care.
not
Who
a
cares?
horse
So
collar
Who
tackle.
cares? Whatever.
I'm just saying. I didn't go crazy.
They missed it.
But I had to throw that in there.
All right, Joe. All right, dude. We'll talk to you next week. Love you, man.
All right, guys. All the love. Be
there
good.
You go. Joe B in the house.